All right, cool. What's going on, everybody? Here with me, Joe. On everybody, I need my glasses. That's so I need my glasses. I can't see without my glasses. That's
Oh shit.
okay. Yeah, my glasses. See, I'm getting older now, so we're over here with a special guest, and she's going to talk to everybody about what's going on in the nightlife. About what's going on in the nightlife. And give us a little bit of information because a lot of people have stereotypes. They think they know, but they don't know. And what we're here to do is educate the audience on what actually goes on in the nightlife. So we're over here with my niece, Jay Raw, about to kick it off. So everybody, Jay Raw.
Hi everyone. Yo.
So that's what you have to pay attention to the board because you gotta switch it over.
Yeah, that's what I got off.
All right. Yeah, so all right.
Makes
So
me less nervous.
while we're sitting here, I'm gonna cut the music off for right now. All right. So go ahead. That's all you can put it on me. All right. So y'all see y'all see my niece J Raw. You see, and she's gonna explain to us a little bit about the nightlife. So I'm gonna start off with the first question.
Yes.
So how did you get started into dancing?
So, I guess it started off with like TikTok and movies and
YouTube. I was
YouTube.
watching a lot of YouTube.
Ever since I was younger, I not like I wasn't into it, but I was always like watching stuff about it. So I became really curious about that whole thing.
The whole night.
And then like we at one point me and my cousin like got all the stuff for it.
What you mean by got all this
Like
stuff
we
for
got
it?
the pole and we got the outfits. We were like
shoes,
excited, like oh we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. But it was like whole 2 years that we kept saying we're gonna do. We were like we didn't feel like we were gonna really do it. Yeah.
So okay, so it was like a fantasy thing that you
Yes.
first got into.
Yes.
Like you were like, wow, this is really cool.
Mhm.
It's interesting, and you heard about the money. Like yo, these girls make like
Money.
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I wanted to see if it was true.
Like that.
Like, you know, when I watch, for example, the movie Hustlers, like, I love that movie.
Right.
And it's crazy because I never thought that I was gonna have the same boss as Ramona and the girl because the person that played to be their boss in that movie was my boss.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's a movie called Hustlers. It's with J Lo and I forgot the other name of the girl.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I watched the movie. I fell in love with the movie, even though, like, it was like a bad, but it's like not that. It's not, Some people are, and it's like a own little different type of people in that type of life, Like
Every club is different.
Every club is different, But I love the money part, the buying the bags, the shoes,
So,
looking cute.
the biggest thing everybody's gonna want to ask and everybody's gonna want to know is like, how much money did you actually make? Like, how much money did you make?
It's not really a total. It was just every day is different.
Yeah, it's not. I can't say a total, but
some days was good.
There's always bad days because we're not gonna make it seem like every day was a good day because in that life you have to have patience and be prepared for bad days because you will have bad days. But the good days are good days and they're pretty great.
No, what we need to know is how much. What's the money look like? Because that's the big question. Like, how much money did you make?
In a month or in a week or in a day?
In a day. Give us a day, a week,
All right, let's
month.
do day first. Let's do day.
So, a day, I want to say like good 700, 800.
Mm-hmm. A day. On good days.
Good days. Sometimes 200, 300. Sometimes you go home with $30. I'm gonna be really real with you.
Wow.
Cause yeah, like I said, there's hard days. I'm not about to sit here and make it seem like it was all rainbows, unicorns, and you know what I'm saying. But yeah, there were bad days, and there were days where I sat there and I was like, I'm never gonna do this again because it was a bad day. But after a bad day, there's always a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know,
I was grateful for them bad days because them good days definitely came.
it's funny because when we look at the situation of dancing, did you ever feel ashamed? Because that's a lot of the first thing people do. They say, you should be ashamed of yourself. Did you ever feel that way? Was it a time where you felt like you felt bad for dancing?
I never felt bad because ever since I was young, yeah, I had supportive people. That's number one. But growing up,
Mm-hmm.
like I grew up around people who were very like money hungry,
Right.
and it didn't necessarily make me go into a money hungry person, but like my aunts used to just tell me like you're very beautiful, you better like like it was like something like that, even if I really couldn't feel bad because they made me actually feel okay with doing things like that, like go getter, not a gold digger but a go getter, like
So it's funny because um, you know it seems like the exploitation of your body and like your family and they were supportive with it, but the majority of people out here, if you would say, well, would you want your kid to be stripping, they would say no. And did you never had a chance to like get that negative moment, like you felt like, and I mean because it's something that people want to know, did you get that moment where you felt like, damn, I don't want to be here, and was there negative things that happened inside the club that you might have been like, this is not the place for me?
I mean, I could say like about the club, yeah, because the first club I started dancing in was like a club where like you actually don't start dancing in a club like that. Like I started dancing in a cabaret,
Okay.
so it was really different.
Get around. This is about being Cooper.
Okay, I don't know what's
Don't
going on.
move. Don't move. Don't move. Please. Look at you.
Oh, okay. All right, everybody. All right, hold on 1 second. Put the camera on me. Put the camera. No, don't pause. Okay, everybody's laughing right now because there's like a big giant butterfly on my leg. So the producer is getting. Don't worry about it. It's a moth. It's not going to kill us.
Get in your clothes.
Okay, she got it. She caught it in the bag. Look, put it on the camera. Let everybody see the moth.
Oh, alright. It's right here. Hold on, wait.
So she caught the moth that was on there. Now,
The door's open, that's why.
yeah, it's funny because everybody was sitting up here, and we're in the hood where people shoot, kill, stab, murder, and everything else, but the moth is what scares us. I don't know.
Sorry.
But yeah, so I'm sorry.
Back to action, sorry.
So
I had to get it off you.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
So what question we're on? We're asking.
You was talking about, does she ever had a bad moment where she in the club and she thought that this wasn't for her?
Yeah. So did you ever get that moment?
Well, like I said, when I first started working, I started working in a cabaret. So I remember like my first day, I went for an interview, and I didn't have to audition. Like it was like an interview, like the easiest interview of my life.
Wow.
I just signed papers, met the boss, I met the secretary and the house mom, and they were like, "Do you want to work today?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they just like, "Okay, go get ready." And I got ready, and the house mom, one of the first things the house mom told me was like, "If you can work here, you can work anywhere else."
Wow.
That was one of the first things I remember, like her telling me.
So is the house mom like they would call a bottom bitch in the game? Is that would be like the professional way of saying it? Like someone who can make sure all the girls are straight and they and do anything. Not saying nothing in like a crazy ass perverted way, but is that like the person who keeps everything in line, the house mom?
Yeah, the house mom is the one who give record of when you come in, you clock in. They take record of how long you take to get ready.
Wow.
Um, but they do make sure you have food. Like my house mom always made sure there was food, like even if it was pizza or buffalo dip or something. Like she always had food for us. Of course I bring up the food first.
Right, that's crazy.
She had like the things we need: perfume, lotion, nail glue,
Wipes.
outfits, money bags, everything.
Yeah,
Everything you could think of that we needed that we probably forgot to bring in, she had. And by the end of the day, you always have to tip her because those things come out of her pocket. Like, so we tip her, and she takes the house fees, which is like how much we pay to like work there for the night, and then yeah. But I never had an issue with my house moms. All my house moms were great.
Wow, that's crazy because what you described to me was a bottom bitch. And when we say a bottom bitch, that's in the world of pimping.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think maybe that they were running the same ideology, the same thought process to get the girls trained?
Well,
into
to
that
some
way?
girls, because it's a lot of things that happen in the strip club, but I wouldn't say pimping because pimping means that they take all your money and they like own you and stuff. And I wasn't into that. I was just like an exotic dancer. I didn't have a pimp. I was not in that life. And I wasn't, like my thing was just to dance with my money and go home. So the most that I would interact with a house mom about was my house fee, tipping her, how much I owed the DJ, and that was it. I was out.
All right. The reason why I asked that because I know prostitution or pimping wasn't that's not the game. But what I'm talking about is the same philosophy of using, and I don't want to say to manipulate anybody because we can't call it manipulation. But do you feel as though like you were, if looking back at it, do you feel as though that they might have some kind of way of manipulation for younger girls that was coming in? I mean, it seemed like they made this environment that was so comfortable. You know what I mean? And in reality, you're paying her. This money's coming out of your pocket. You're paying her to do this. You're paying her to go and set the stage for you. She got this. She got that for you. You know what I mean? And was it like do you look at that in hindsight? Like, was it the game or was it, you know what I mean?
No, I always felt like like they were there to comfort us, and it's not a way of manipulation because I feel like in every job, whether it's a strip club, an office, a construction site, a teacher, they always need support system at a job, just like they do at home and in every place. So I feel like at every job, there needs to be that person to remind you that you're doing great. That I know this is hard because, we never know what people are going through, and I feel like she was really there for all of us, and she always made sure we were good.
Right.
And she could have not. She could have just like sat there and just not cared, but she cared. Genuinely, it felt like she cared. So no, I never seen it as a way of manipulation because a job is a job, And I personally feel like people perform dancing, people perform gymnastics, people are singers, they play the violin, they play guitars, they do cheerleading. It's just like, to me it was like performing, like I was performing. I was like the dancer, people were coming to see me perform. I never seen it as like, oh, she's doing that, like, I never, I just made it like my own thing in my own world.
Like you're the star.
Yeah, like I was the star of the movie. Like I'm, how do you call it? I'm the main character in this movie right now.
Like it's me.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because your whole perspective of what the lifestyle of stripping is seems completely different than what I perceive. And I'm just going to be honest. It seems, but I was never a stripper.
And that's because of what society stereotypes it to be.
Right, and
because I can tell you
for both our camera angles too at the same time. So you can, so that's cool too.
God,
so you
I
can
don't
hit
like that angle though.
You don't like that angle?
No.
Okay, well sometimes we'll switch to it and switch off.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait. So what was the question? Like.
So no, I was saying that me personally, I had a different view of it.
Oh yeah. So that's because of how society portrays it to be, because I can sit there and say like,
They
oh
think that
I'm
is,
this, and you'll be like, you just think of what you heard, what you see in the movies, which half of the time aren't real.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you have to set boundaries. Everyone is different in that world.
Mm.
I personally was my own person in that world, so I feel like, yeah, you make it what you want it to be.
Mm.
You can't let the people around you what they think it is be
Define you.
what it is. You're living that life. We can have 1,000 people saying this is this is that, but they've never been in that position or never worked in that position. Right. So they're just talking, but they don't know because they never lived that. You can't really speak on something unless you live in it,
Right.
live on it, and you're just always gonna think. You're always gonna people just speak on things that they never lived, and it's like, but have you done it? Yeah. Have you been there? Do you know someone that does it? No? Okay then. So you're just going by
what you think. And, yeah. You're absolutely right, because I would have, the perception that I see is young women um, being taken advantage of by this corporation that makes money from,
well,
a lot of the times it's like that.
You know what I mean, taking money from
it
these
is,
young
yeah,
people.
It is like that, but you're making a lot of money, so there's no way of you being manipulated, unless you let them. But it's all about the mentality. Like, you go in there to make your money, you go home, and that's it.
And it's funny because the one thing I have to say is that you're incredible. The way that you represent yourself, you have you have a unique style about you. You're very educated, very intelligent, and and because I know you personally, you're a very compassionate person. You take things, and you always give that look like, hey, that person, let me give a helping hand if I can, or so you're not someone that's just, if I was thinking stereotypical, oh, I'm trying to get the bag, hell with everybody, as they say, what's that, Nas, niggas ain't shit, you don't put that, completely different, so for you telling me this side of the story, I'm like, wow, that's amazing, because I know your personality. But if you didn't know, I used to be in a strip club, and that's something that you might not have known. I used to be in a strip club 24/7. I used to sell shirts, and I used to sell all the clothes to them. I used to deal with all the club owners, and I used to do a lot with inside the strip club. I used to play the music, DJ, the whole nine. And you know, it's funny because I used to talk to all the girls, and they were amazing people. A lot of them were, but then I had some whereas though they had daddy issues.
Yeah.
They were, drugs real heavy.
Yeah.
And they were put in a situation where as though it's like they felt as though they had no way out. So they turned to this lifestyle. And they would just seem like, they were crying. They were crying because they didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
And they were stuck in a situation where they were making all this money, but still didn't even have a car. They still, barely was able to pay their rent. They were still being abused by, the guys that they were dating. All these other issues that they had with inside them. These were the girls that I talked to, but they still were amazing people. And I'm wondering, how did you deal with that situation, seeing all these young girls and personalities, and how did they treat you when you were in there?
Yeah. So, I heard a lot of stories, a lot of sad stories. I ran into a lot of girls who I'll never forget. I feel like I will never forget those girls. You hear a lot of stories and you see a lot of things, and it is, you have to go. So, my thing is, I was a person out of there, but in there I was different, because when you're in there, my mentality was like, I don't trust no one. Wow. I feel bad. You tell me your story. Wow, like it's like everyone else, like I feel for you, but I just had to walk out at the end of the day, and it was like, but it's things that you do go home with, and you just think about. You're just like, wow, because, I never really, like, I was sociable at times, but I didn't know how to feel about the atmosphere. I was still questioning it, But I ran into a lot of nice girls. You know, I still keep in contact with a lot of them. I had this one friend. I had a lot of friends, but I had this one friend who really like stood out because she always like, even though she was new and I was new, we still clicked together and found a way around. And you know, it was always a good day when me and her clicked together. You know, um, but yeah, and like besides that, like drugs, yeah, alcohol, yeah, it is. You know, if you don't go in there with a strong personality, like alcohol and drugs will take over you. You know, like you would think that in order to get by the night, you will have to drink, and then you know you find yourself drinking 7 days a week because you're working 7 days a week, and you want to like. You know, like you're too tired to do this, you're too tired to do that, so you're just like, oh, like I'm gonna drink and I'm gonna get that little feeling, you know, like it. I seen a lot of girls go downhill with the drugs, and it was really sad, you know.
So, cocaine, was cocaine a big part of the stripping world?
Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
was really big. It was really it was scary. I never really technically seen the girls do it a lot, but most of the customers. So I knew that if all the customers were coming in doing that, you know, they were gonna offer it to the girls, and the girls that did it would do it, and it was just like, you know, like that's a start to something. It just that whole thing made me sad. Like I try not to think about that,
Right.
cause like me personally, I know how to like, thank God, I know how to like discipline myself and stuff. So when it came to things like that, like I'll just like, I'll
And
know to stay away. I'll know to be like,
and you stepped out the and you stepped out the game. You stepped out the game and didn't pick up any of the bad habits from that lifestyle.
yeah. I mean, in life, life taught me that, you know, everyone says that, you know, like you, how can I say it?
You gotta be you.
Yeah, you just gotta be you, and you can't like that's not something permanent, you know.
Right.
That's definitely something like that's not permanent. So no, you can't pick up any of the bad habits, and I hope girls don't pick up some of the bad habits, even though I personally, I feel like I didn't have bad habits.
Right.
The only bad
Yeah.
habit is being addicted to the fast money. So you know, that's like something else. But other than that, like I stepped out the game, and I'm thinking about going back, but I don't know when. But so we continue with that.
You know, um, in all honesty and being real, you believe in God.
Yes, I do.
And this is just a question that a lot of people who are faith believers. What is your moral and religious belief on the act of the stripping and the club life? Do you look at it as being a sinful life, or do you look at it as normal? You know what I mean? Like everybody got to just do what they got to do, or is it, do you feel like, God has put more in life in store for me?
I feel like I said, you know, there's ballerinas, there's cheerleaders, there's pop dancers, there's hip hop dancers, there's break dancers, tap dancers, there's all type of dancers, and I happen to be an exotic dancer, so I see it as long as I make my money, I don't do nothing wrong and go home. I had no issue. I wasn't doing nothing that was like, oh my gosh, you know.
Right.
So I personally just seen it like I was just wearing my cute outfits and going home, making my money, going home, and that's it.
All right. All right. See, the one thing that I have to be 100% real with is the fact that we understand, will this life affect a lot of young girls in a negative way? I mean, I want you to step back out of yourself, and I want you to look at it and say, will this life affect, if you had a daughter, someone, would you recommend that life for her?
Um, I personally feel like, you know, I had a rough childhood, and it's not like something to blame a rough childhood
Mm.
because I've seen all type of girls in there. I've seen girls that were about to become lawyers. I've seen girls that were nurses. I've seen girls that like you wouldn't even believe. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like I feel like it will because if you're weak,
Mhm.
and you're not, and you don't know how to just like I don't know how to explain it, but if you're weak and you don't know how to pick yourself up at times, and you're easily like, you know, I don't know how to say it. Like, hopefully there's a crowd. There's always going to be a crowd. But you got to always make sure that you're different. And you're always going to stay different. You're never going to follow the crowd because the crowd is doing this, you're going to do it. Or because one of the persons in the crowd are doing it and then someone else does it, you're going to do it. No. You got to just be yourself. And you got to do what you want to do, not what anyone else wants you to do. Just remain yourself at all situations. And, you know, you could bend a little bit, but don't fold all the way, you know? But I personally feel like, yes, if you're weak, if, you know, in a lot of ways, that yes, it can destroy, like, you know. And with the daughter part, like, you know, we all have a past.
Right.
And I feel like I'm going to be really open with my kids about who I was and what it took for me to be the woman that I will be in the future to them. But I don't know, I'm still learning and growing on that topic, you know.
Right.
Probably a year or two from now, I have a different mentality on it, and, you know, all this other stuff.
You know, I'm listening to your answers, and they're astonishing. The way that, because the reality of it is, I'm coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it gently with a soft hand, and I want to see the responses, and your responses are phenomenal. I mean, because you're really explaining yourself and the things that you've seen. But I think if we really did dig down into it, and if you took yourself out the equation, I would like to see, what do you really, really think of the game and the hurt side that you've seen? Like, I know, because you had to see the devastation, because I've seen the devastation. And, like, in good faith, could you truly recommend that for someone? And for them to walk down that path, because we both know that that path is a path that's devastating to a young lady. I mean, you went through it, and like you said, you were strong. And I noticed that you're like, well, if you're weak, something that you wouldn't sort of do. And I'm like, let's tell them, like, let's give it to them for real. Like give it to them. Like, yo, how many young girls you seen go out there and actually became so addicted to the drugs? How many young girls you seen out there that is being prostituted because of it? How many of them leave their kids at home and don't give a goddamn about their kids and stay up to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning? You know, how many parents sit there and cry like, yo, I can't even talk to my daughter because she's in this state where she's like, you know, she only thing she's worried about is, you know, getting to this money. And, you know, and the reason why I say it is because we got a lot of people watching.
Yeah.
And even before a lot of people, we got the big man watching us upstairs. You know, and so it's like, what do we give? You know, so when we tell the babies, like, look, because it's the babies. These people are people who've been, most women, and just to be honest, that strip has really went through a family tragedy, molestation, being raped. I mean, literally poor to the point that they had nothing, or, you know, in a situation where, you know, they might be a go-getter, might be a little smart, might be wanting to go to school and do these things, but they're really hurt individuals that went through so much pain that they might not see. You know, you could have worked a regular job. You could have did this struggle in a different way. You know what I mean? $2,500, $10,000 is not going to bring you back to, you know, when you get married, or if you want that life where, you know, when that last moment where you confessing to God and you like, how do you feel inside? You know, a lot of us forget that part of it. You know, and you know, I know it's difficult because we all live a sinful life. You know, so we just want to let the people know. I want you to tell them the devastation. You know what I mean? I know the good parts. The good parts are good. The good parts are great. You know what I mean? I know the money. I know being able to go out, drink with the girls, and being able to pay your rent and go to your mom's house and pay her rent and go to help friends out because your money is crazy long. You know what I mean? You making more money than realistically rappers are making out there. You're making more money than most teachers make out there. You're doing more money than anybody. But how do they feel afterwards?
Yeah. I think that is a strong question because it is true. Money doesn't buy happiness, and money doesn't buy your relationship, a husband, kids, a house, a household that loves you. It doesn't buy none of that. It can buy you things that you replace and are you don't take with you down, but like under the grave, you don't take with you in the casket when you die. But there I've seen a lot of stuff like I mean you see all the girls have fun and smiling and happy when they're on the floor, but when it's time to go upstairs and pay those fees and count your money and everyone's getting dressed and ready to go home, like you see things, you see girls like crying, you see girls asking for rides because they don't have rides, you see girls who are like passed out drunk and the house mom are trying to control, like you see a lot of things, you see a lot of sad things, but like I said, like it is hard. It is something hard. It is something sad. Me personally, that's why I stopped working at the last place I was working at, with the first place I started working at, because it was just like it was too much.
It was too much.
It was too much. It was like towards the end, it became like too much, and I was seeing it. I was seeing it with like my own eyes, so I was like, yeah, like I gotta remove myself before this gets worse.
Nana said, "Fast life, fast money comes with a lot of risk."
Yes.
Hit that camera. So Destiny's doing the cameras for us. Thank you so much, Destiny.
Talking in the background.
And talking in the background.
Like
She's narrating
yeah.
everything. But
shout out to Nicole. She a veteran in the game.
Oh, period.
So, one moment of honesty. Tell us what hurt you. Tell us what. No, hold on. Tell us what hurt you. And the pain, like because we have personalities. Personalities protect us.
Yeah.
It protects us for our authentic self. We create a personality, a persona, for we can be protected because we are emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah.
Letting your authentic self, your vulnerable side out, the child you.
Yeah.
What hurt you? And was there something that did hurt you?
Well, I mean, things that were hurting me were things that were going on at home, not really in the club.
Wow.
I try to keep, like I said, I made my money and I went home. It was never something where I was really like, I never try to go too hard on myself for things like that.
Right.
Because I know who I am at the end of the day and I know how I carry it. And I think that's all that matters. It at first it was like, oh my god, like people know, blah, blah, blah. Like it's like that whole like.
No. I'm talking about what hurt you. What know. No, you had you know where your hurt is. You know where that pain is at, and it's like it's a chance of being vulnerable. And I know we're on here. We're gonna have like
lots of people.
But it's called bearing your soul.
Yeah.
And with that bear in your soul is the release of all pain. It's like a pressure point.
Mm-hmm.
So what hurt you? What was your pain? What was the thing that had you? I'm looking back because the way the cameras are set up, but what hurt you? What gave you that, I know the money and all that stuff and what you told me, but there's a hurt little girl that's in there. And let us know what hurt you. Because there's another hurt little girl right there that's not going to know how to explain herself or why she's doing the things she do.
I mean, I don't wanna blame the hurt little girl
No, not blaming the
for
hurt little
doing
girl,
that.
but what hurt the girl?
Like, no, it was like I said, my childhood was rough. It was a lot of domestic violence. My father was mentally ill. My mom was an alcoholic. I was raising my little sister. You know, I was young, doing everything for my own. I started working at the age of 13.
13, are you
Yeah.
serious?
So like, you know, it was probably like I had a mom and I had a dad. I never had the dad mentally there.
Right.
Physically he was there, but mentally he was never like there like that dad. I had my mom until probably freshman year, and after freshman year I lost my mom to alcohol. So it was such an early age, so I had to like after freshman year, I'm not sure how old I was at around that time. But like I raised myself after that. You know? Like I my mother figure was Destiny. So
Another person that was your age.
yeah, another person that was my age was my mother figure at that age, cause I had lost my mom, so I was mostly around her. So like whatever me and her learned, like that was just us growing up and raising ourselves.
Raising each other.
Yeah, raising each other.
Yo, there's something because to see the person
And
that
she
you are.
also had like a mentally ill like, you know,
Right.
parent, and I did too. So it's like not like trauma bonding because, but it's like, you know, like we just had each other, and
Yeah,
we
we
felt each other
understood.
on a whole other level.
What's understood doesn't have to be explained. Type
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something. And a little girl at 13, you went and you raised yourself. And because when I was there during that period, I seen it, but I never seen your pain. And it's funny to say because you hid your pain so well.
Mm-hmm.
I never. I mean, only thing I seen was like this girl with this bright face and this beautiful smile.
Everyone sees the smile.
Yeah, the smile and the go getting attitude.
Yeah.
But you were suffering.
Yeah. You know.
You were
Not as bad as before, because I've made it a long way, and I'm so happy with the woman I am today, because with all that hurt and pain I wouldn't be who I am today. So I gotta see the good, like, you know, I see the bad in it, but I also see the good in it, because I'm like, thanks to that pain, like,
Wow. Did you ever get counseling for it?
I was getting counseling when I was a kid, but after that I stopped.
And do you really think that all that trauma that you have is resolved yet?
No, I'm still healing from a lot of it, but I'd rather heal from it independently, you know. I shout out to the therapist and the
Right.
psychiatrist, like, you know.
Wow.
But I feel like I tried it out, and after a while, like I was just like, you know what, like.
It's funny because
And I don't want to make it easy like that, because everybody probably like, oh, she just there, like, you know. But
personally I think me losing my mother and father within 14 days of each other, and my parents were the best parents in the world, and I'm just gonna be honest. My dad was crazy as hell, but he was like he was the man. He was the man.
He was the muscle.
Yeah, and my mother was like everything. Yeah, she was like, she would hold me. She was so tender, and even as a grown man, I can go back and I can sit down and I could talk to my mom. It was like every encouraging word in the world she had for me. Every lesson I needed to learn, she was there. Every bit of wisdom that my dad had, he gave it to me.
Yeah.
And they left me like this with no nothing. I am messed up, hurt. I don't even see the hurt, except when it explodes. When I turn around and something happens, and I'm like, yo, I don't see it until then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I realized that I need therapy for that. And I think when we're sick, we don't realize it because we became so good at covering it up. And, I like to tell people, like, don't cover it up. Don't cover up. Get the healing for it.
Yeah.
We need to. We need to. I'm going to start my therapy. I'm going to talk to a grieving coach because when that pain strikes and when it hits, like I can't do nothing. I'm completely like, first thing they say, "Oh, be a man and man up."
Yeah.
Bro, you're not gonna tell me to man up. When the life of my life left me, the wisdom of my knowledge is gone, and I'm in that circle and I'm turning, spinning and spinning and spinning around, and I'm hurt. You know what I mean? You can't tell me to what you call it, suck that up, and I don't want to, but I recommend because you, beautiful person, most one of the most gentlest hearts, and I'm being honest because I know you. See, how people can't say no. I know you. I've seen how gentle your heart is, and you know what's called. But I also seen the times when you're hurt,
Yeah.
and it's like what's called. So I would tell everybody out there, any pain, anything like that, man, talk to a
Yes.
counselor.
Yes.
And I recommend that for you also.
Yeah.
I recommend for you to, you know, talk to a person, find out the exercises and all the things that they do, you know, for the hurt that you've been through, because they really don't know, the audience, they don't know you
Yeah.
and the hurt that you've been through, the pain that, like, when they don't see, like, you know what I mean? And you have to still put this persona on to protect the little girl inside you. You have to put that persona on.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I just, and that's why, we're talking about, we were on the subject of the dancing and all that stuff. That's cool. But before even dancing or anything like that, we, we talk, we have to hear that story about you. So tell us the story about your family and how everything's going. With as far as when you came as being a child and growing up and the happy moments and everything else that go along with that. What's your happiest moment?
Um, I don't. I have a lot of them, but like happiest. I have like a lot of them. I really can't really think of one happy moment.
Going to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, sadness into that too. But like I said, you guys did good and everything. But like I had a lot of happy moments. And as far like of my family, like I don't know, I came from a small family.
Wow.
Small but big, you know.
I don't
Small
know.
Big, but you were more closer to like the
like
immediate.
my father always kept me like not kept me away, but like because I could have been close to them, and I always tried to like be close with them, but like yeah, my father was mentally ill. He was the oldest in a family of like he had two other siblings. Um, he was raised in Puerto Rico, born in Puerto Rico. My mom was raised in Nicaragua. She was also raised over there, but she came in here differently. Like we were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
She was an immigrant and stuff, so um and my mom was like a really hardworking woman. My dad never really could work because of his mental disability. But yeah, um, I don't know, like.
All right. My happiest moment, I'll give you an example. I came downstairs on Christmas. I was 8 years old. And it was this big ass G.I. Joe tent that was there. And the whole floor was covered in like presents. I had it was like a telescope there, G.I. Joe tent, a drum set. Like it was like everything on my wish list was given to me. And I'm like, that was like, it's funny because that was like the happiest moment of my life. And like my mom sitting down, because you could not wait for Christmas, and you ran, you're like, ow! I was so happy at that moment. It was like, it was like I died and went to heaven, and this is how heaven should be. Every day with this greatest gift in the world, like everything you want right in front of your face, and it sticks out because it's like this burning moment to me. Like, damn. Like, I'll never ever in my life get a Christmas like that again. You know what I mean? I'll never get a Christmas like that. And then the first day that my son was born, I had my son, and he came out, and I was like, what this is mine.
Yeah.
And I watched his little hands open up, and I seen him do all these little crazy head movements, and it was like right before my birthday, so I was like, "Yo, God, you gave me the best birthday gift in the world."
Aww.
You know what I mean? And it was like that with every one of my children, But that first one is like that moment that like really boom and pop out, and it was like that with all my children. The moments because each one of those moments that happened, it's like like when my son Amir came out, he was just like I just remember him and his eyes were like wide open, and he was looking around like this, and I was like, this little boy right here is crazy as hell. You know what I mean? And it was like a moment, and then a set was my scary moment, and made me realize like when a child was like, how do you feel when your child, like she was the biblical cord was wrapped around her neck.
Oh my god, yeah. I remember.
Her leg was like snapped up like this, like it was like how your elbows, your joints is. It was going the opposite way on our leg, and I'm trying to keep Rose. That's like she's like, what's going on? And I'm seeing like all this stuff, and the baby just like not, you know what I mean, like responding it for a second because of the biblical cord, and like my whole life was like trying to keep her calm and not let her know what's going on. I'm like, oh my goodness, I might be dealing with a child that is deformed, and it made me. I mean, that was a prayer. You ever pray to God and be like, yo, you ever been in a situation you like, yo, God, please, Lord, please help me, and she gave me that, and then I remember, Shay Shay, she was just like this crazy, crazy baby with these wild eyes. And Erica, when she came out, she was so strong. I was just seeing a moment of like a strength.
Yeah.
I seen. It was like she was just like so strong. I was like, yo, damn, she is Diesel. I mean, she came out. No, she came out. Erica came out. She was Diesel, but it was like each one of these moments. Even Angelina, my niece, that I've been raising for all this time since she came out the hospital.
Like what, 2 years now?
Yeah, and holding her when she's that little teeny baby and she came out of the hospital, and and putting her to sleep for the first time.
And now she's walking, talking. Like
this
is crazy.
Yeah, so
life goes by so fast.
It goes too fast. It goes way too fast. So your happy moments, you're always gonna identify them.
Yeah, I mean.
So give me your happy moment. What sticks out to you since you heard it? What sticks out to you in your happy moment?
Well, I'll be really honest. My happiest, like one of my happiest moments was recently when my mom got clean for 6 months.
Oh wow.
My mom was clean for 6 months. She wasn't drinking. My dad was here. My dad passed away, but he was here, and he was also doing great. And just yesterday I ran into like a little memory of my dad giving he would give my mom foot massages like every day after work. So like I just made my heart a little warm because I'm like that was kind of my favorite like one of my favorite memories recently because I mean forever to be really honest because she was making dinner before work and she had the house clean and I'm like oh my god like maybe I'm gonna get my mom back like my mom is back. I have her back.
Family life.
Yeah, I seen a family life for like a little bit and then it all just went away. Wow. Again, yeah.
Damn, they talking about. I mean, and to see your life and what you've been through, like yo, and you're still making it.
You gotta make it. You gotta make it for my future kids because I know that I'm gonna give my kids what I never had, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm there for them. Like I'm not going hard on my parents because growing up is learning that your parents raised you with whatever they had. Whatever they know, whatever they went through, like they got raised a different way of how they're raising you. They're trying to raise you just like their parents try to raise them. It's hard, and I know it's gonna be hard for me too, but I'm gonna just always have that motivation. Like, I gotta do it for my parents to show them, like there's such thing as breaking generational curses. There's a such thing as giving your kids what you didn't have.
Yeah.
All right. You gotta keep you going. Like, for me too, for myself, for my loved ones, for my cousin, my sister, my friends, the people I love that love me back. I gotta do it for them too, because living in a life of pain, you don't want to bring extra pain, and now you're absent. You don't know what impact you make in a person's life, or you don't sit there and just like imagine your life without a certain person.
Wow.
Life is all about appreciating the people around you, because life taught me that it will take someone away from you really quick. Yeah.
It's something because looking at what you're doing and how you came to tell people your story and share with people, that part of life, because everybody that knows you and looks at your Instagram, they see beautiful pictures,
Yeah.
big smiles, and and they don't know who you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is saying in Spanish. It's like cara vemos, corazones no sabemos. We see faces, but we don't know anybody's heart. Like,
wow. Well, that's going to be it for our story today, and I hope you enjoyed our guests. Um, you can go to our guests. Not all three of us the guests.
we'll have a part 2.
We'll definitely
Coming
have a
soon.
part 2.
There's a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I know. I sort of got off of there because, I love my niece more than anything. She's very important to me, and it's important for, us to talk too. And I enjoy talking to her. She put me onto this thing. What was that thing that you put me onto?
Midnight Gospel.
Oh my goodness, yo, this is like at first I thought
Watch
I was
Midnight
like, yo,
Gospel, y'all. It's on Netflix. It's the best show ever.
yo, I was like, this shit is a little.
This is
weird.
not a paid advertisement.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Really not.
Yo, but it was like, yo, it was so different. I was like, what is she? I was like, what the hell has she got me watching?
Yeah.
But the message that was in that show,
it's like it blows your mind.
Oh my
like,
goodness. It's unbelievable. So I recommend for everybody to watch Midnight Gospel.
Watch it.
So this is the end of the show. I'm going to play the beat. This is the beat that I made. It's called Relax. All right. I made this beat. So if Facebook tries to...
Shout out to C Glizzy and D Glizzy in the building.
Oh, yeah.
I was the one in the background.
Did you hit N?
No.
Why did it go into N?
It says N.
Yeah, no,
Continue.
It says, yeah. There's an error here. An error occurred. Alright, so hopefully it's still on, but...
Yeah, it's still on, because look.
The count meter?
No, it's still here. Finished.
Okay. Alright.
Still live.
Alright, so we're going to play the beat out. Very metal. I am your next Timberland.
Make sure you put them follows too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So y'all want to do a shout out?
Yeah.
So
please.
shout out to
Jewelry. Follow me on Instagram, EXO Jewelry, and my TikTok, La Combi Completa.
And me, Chris Cruz. Follow me on Instagram, Live Life 1512.
We got an interview coming up with Chris too. Chris is
a singer.
Yeah. Well, he's actually
upcoming
artist.
An artist. Yeah. So Chris is definitely on
Shout out to Chris.
November when?
Yeah, definitely.
You said November or when?
November.
Justin,
that was the
Yeah.
Eagles thing.
No, the Eagles thing is.
I'm sorry.
That was the
Music.
Eagles thing that I was talking about.
Justin, we don't even get to see you in the camera shot. Like,
And I'm over here.
Justin was working our boards. He was doing everything for us. This was like awesome. And so we thank Destiny and shout out to my wife for bringing me
We love you,
great
Rose.
family.
We love y'all.
Yes. Thank you, wife, for
Shout out
bringing
to
me such
Rose.
a great, awesome family. And all that she does. Because every morning she has to come and clean this porch up after I make this podcast.
That's love. Listen, as long as Rose have coffee, she's good.
Yeah. That's a lie. I'm telling you that now. Rose is not good with coffee. She gets pissed off, and I go to hell for it. But
Listen.
with my crazy sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, Chaito,
We love you.
yeah,
We love y'all too.
and they were over here earlier with the two little bad kids that they have. But I love them.
Juju,
Yeah,
and
Juju,
Angelica.
Shout out to Mama Jelly.
But you know what? I gotta tell you something. they touch my heart so much because Juju's always doing something bad as hell, but then he'd be like, Gio, and he comes over and gives me a hug. I'm like, get out of here, you don't hug me, man, we're men. But you know, he like great heart. Then my little Angelica, man, she's like, Gio, what can I do to help? I just want to put the lights up and like leave it alone. Don't touch a damn thing. But you know, the kids, and I just want to say that I love them and I appreciate my whole family and what everybody does. And of course, just wanted to let everybody know. Peace and good night.
Bye.